Hi, my name is Carolyn Chau. Welcome to today's session about rapid data exploration, empowering end-user insight through rapid data exploration and visualization with PowerView. PowerView is an interactive data exploration and presentation experience. What that means is there are three main tenets to PowerView. The first is that it's a very highly visual design experience. It's a web-based environment where you can interact with your data and you can go ahead and interact with it with very familiar Microsoft Office paradigms. It's a rich metadata-driven experience, which means that it's built on top of a semantic model that describes your data and has hints for your end users to be able to use your data very easily. It's animated, it's easy to use, and it allows you to gain insights using a variety of different visualizations. And finally, it's presentation ready at all times. PowerView is designed for the screen. The interactivity is designed to fit on the screen and to be consumed and shared by others in a meeting environment or on the web. This slide shows you a little overview of PowerView's UI. You can see that it's completely web-based. It has a very familiar Microsoft Office paradigm. It looks like the interaction between Excel and PowerPoint with an Office ribbon, and also the ability to explore your data through a metadata pane on the right-hand side to be able to customize the different types of views and visualizations that you have using the field list and the field drop area. And you can create visualizations very easily simply by dragging and dropping items onto the page. I'm going to go ahead and show you a demo of PowerView to show you some of its rich features. Here we are in SharePoint, and you can see this is a normal SharePoint page with a document library. And I'm going to show you a demo today using this Movlia data set in this folder. So I'm going to click on the folder, and inside this folder I have a data source that I'm going to use and launch PowerView from. So I'll click on the drop-down, and you can see there's a Create PowerView Report button. I'll go ahead and click that. PowerView will be launched. You can see that PowerView is a full, thin Silverlight application, and it's designed after the Microsoft Office paradigms. You can see on the top there's a ribbon, and on the right-hand side there's a field list area. And the field list area provides me the information I need about the data that I have. So in this particular data set, we're looking at movies data and downloads and revenues of movies. I have information about my movies themselves, and I have information about the dates of the downloads, the regions, the sales, and so forth. I can start my report by simply adding a title. In order to explore my data set, all I have to do is start selecting items in my list. I'll go ahead and select movies, and you can see my list of movies shows up immediately, and I can start exploring and looking at the movies in my inventory. I can scroll through and see that the most interesting fields about movies automatically showed up for me. I have the title, the poster, the director, the provider, the genre, the rating, the user rating. And that's actually just a subset of the different fields that I have about movies. The underlying metadata, or this model, automatically tells me and shows me that the most interesting fields about movies, and they get automatically selected when I select the table. One of the most powerful things about PowerView is that we can transform the look of data within a single click. So I can take this table of data and easily transform it to a completely different visualization by selecting a different visualization in this gallery. For example, I can select this card visualization, and that exact same table of data is now this card visualization, which is just a different layout of the same data, but it gives me a nice way to look at this particular list. We can also continue to explore by adding some additional visualizations to our report. First of all, let's go ahead and take a look at the ratings of the movies and see the breakdown of downloads by the ratings. So I'll go ahead and go to the sales table and select the downloads year-to-date for sales. You can see everything lands on the page as a little table in PowerView, and then I can verify that the data seems correct. Once I've done that, I can go ahead and select a completely different visualization. For example, I can select for this data the column chart type, and it'll take that same table of data and transform it to a column chart. As a user, I didn't have to think about where to put items on the axes and the different axes. PowerView decided for me and made the right decision about putting the rating on the x-axis and the downloads on the y-axis. Let's go ahead and add another chart. I'll go ahead and select the genres of the movies, and you can see the different genres: action, comedy, drama. And then I'll go ahead in this case and add the revenues year to date. Once I've done that, again, I can verify that the data looks about correct, and then I can go ahead and transform it to a different data visualization. In this case, I'll select the bar visualization. Within a very few clicks, I've now created a very nice looking report. One of the nice things about PowerView, though, is that when you create a report, it's not just the visualizations on the page. Because we understand the metadata behind this data set, and there's a model that determines all the relationships within the data, I automatically get interactivity for free. So for example, I can go ahead and click on this rated R bar, and the bottom chart will go ahead and show me the contribution of the rated R movies to the movies by genre. And the list of movies will then get filtered to show me just the rated R movies. And you can see, of course, these are rated R movies. And I can do the same thing from the bottom chart. I can go ahead and, for example, click on comedy. The top chart will then show the contribution of comedy movies, and the left table will show just the list of comedy movies. Let's go ahead and take a look at another visualization. I'm going to take this bar chart and transform it to a scatter chart. Now for the scatter chart, I'm going to need to add a couple more measures. So I'm going to go ahead and add the downloads year to date, and the number of titles is going to give me the size of the bubbles. So what I'm doing in the scatter chart is I'm comparing the revenue to the downloads, and you can see immediately that our two largest sellers are comedy and science fiction movies. I'll add a little more information. I'll go ahead and select the dates, and I'm going to drag this month field to this play axis area. What that's going to do is allow me to take a look at this data over time. So now I have a play axis, and you can actually see that the play axis is going to allow me to animate and show the trend over time. I can click the play button, and it'll go ahead and start showing me the trends of those movie growths over time. You can see comedy grows very steadily, and if it's not big enough, I can go ahead and pop it out and take a look at it in a larger size. Let's go ahead and play that again. So like I said, comedy comes out and grows very steadily, and you can see that right at the end, the science fiction bubble starts to grow, and it catches up and surpasses the comedy sales right at the end. I can actually take a look at the trends of those sales by clicking on the different bubbles, and that'll show me the spacing between the bubbles. And that's actually very important in this case because it gives us an indicator that the trend is very different between those two genres of movies. I can move backwards and forwards in time and look at any period of time if I'm interested in digging a little deeper. So let's go ahead and pop that back in. And another type of visualization that we can add in PowerView is to transform this table into what we call a tile. Because PowerView is designed for the screen, we want to optimize use of space and give you different ways to navigate large sets of data. What tiles do is allow you to go ahead and navigate these movies one by one in this data set, and also gives you a little space to add information about each specific movie. Right now I have 102 Dalmatians selected, and what I'm going to do is add a little chart that shows me the breakout of the movie sales by region. So I'll go ahead and add the region name. And for each region, I'm going to go ahead and show the downloads and the revenue. And I'm going to turn that into a clustered bar chart. There we go. And that shows me the sales of this movie in the different regions that I sell in. I can now then go ahead and scroll through and take a look at any particular movie that I want just by selecting it in the list. And you'll see that this visualization changes to show me details about that particular movie, but these total visualizations over here do not change because they represent summaries of the information across all movies. All right, the next thing I'm going to do is show you a couple of different views that I've already pre-created, and we'll see a couple of additional features of PowerView. So in this particular report, I've started with the same kind of view that I've already just shown you how to build, and I've also added that play axis view here. And what I'm showing you on the left-hand side of the screen is actually a view sorter where I can add one or more views in PowerView to the same report. So in this case, I've pre-created 2 views here. And then in this third view, I have a chart created which shows me the downloads and the revenue by each individual movie, and I have a large number of movies that I'm showing here. I can easily go ahead and add color to this chart just by selecting a field to color by. So I'll grab the rating, and you can see in the field area here, I have a color drop area. And when I drop that in, it'll go ahead and color each movie by the type of rating that it is. And I can see I've got rated G, rated PG, PG-13, rated R. And if I select in the legend, you'll see that the movies that are of that genre get highlighted. And actually there's a very big difference in the distribution of the revenue and downloads by genre. For PG-13, you can see there's a nice large distribution. But if I look at rated G, for example, you'll see most of our downloads and revenues are not in the rated G genre. They're very low. So that's one example of color usage and interactivity. Let's go ahead and move to another view. In this view, you'll see that I have a chart that shows the genres of movies and the downloads of the movies. Now I've already got a rating in the chart, so the chart's showing me color here. What I really want to do is compare this information by each individual region that I sell in. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and, in the field list, take the region name, and this time I'm going to drop it on this area called vertical multiples. What vertical multiples does is that it gives me a way to easily compare the exact same data across a particular different dimension, in this case, the region. So you can see that I've got a shared axis both on the left-hand side and on the bottom that allows me to easily compare each of my different regions. And I can see that I have very low sales in New England versus very high sales in the South, in the Midwest, and the Northeast. And that's just a really easy way to compare data. And in order to create this view, all I had to do was exactly drop one field into this drop area. I didn't have to go and recreate a chart for each of the different types of, each of the different regions in my data. Next, I'm going to go ahead and show you a couple more examples of interactivity. You can see here I've got a nice report created. On the left-hand side, I have a slicer, which shows all of my different genres of movies. I have a chart that shows downloads by genre, ratings, downloads by rating, and also a little multiple that's showing me the downloads and the downloads by month and genre. So what I'm going to do first is show you some sorting in this particular chart here. You'll see right now I'm sorting the genres in ascending order by the label. If I click the ascending button, it'll automatically sort the genres in descending order. Now I have westerns at the start instead of action. If I want to sort by the measure, all I have to do is click right here, and it'll go ahead and show me the genres with the largest sales first. And if I want to change that to sort in the other direction, it's very easy. I just have to click the descending button to change it into ascending. And now I have my comedy sales on the right-hand side. The next thing I'll show you is some cross-filtering. So you can see I have these ratings here. If I go ahead and select any particular rating and click on it, you'll see what will happen is that I'm going to get the contribution of that rating, the rated R movie sales. And down here, I've also limited the data just to show me rated R movie sales across the different genres. And of course, I can do the same thing here by selecting on comedy. And what you'll see is the focus, the contribution of comedy movies, and then the bottom area focuses on comedy. The next thing I can do is use the slicers that I have on the left-hand side of my report, and I can select a few of my genres. And first I'll show drama, and then I can click on, for example, horrors and documentary, and really focus on those three particular genres if I wanted to see sales for those three. That shows you some of the very interactive capabilities of PowerView. Finally, I'm going to show you a view that is a tile view, very similar to the one that I showed you at the beginning, except this tile is a large tile that takes the entire page. And of course, I can scroll through and now see very easily that I have all these movies in my inventory, and I can go ahead and change the view to any particular movie, and all of the information inside the tile will change to show me the sales information for this particular movie. Within the tile, I can also have the same type of interactivity. I have, for example, this region name, and I can go ahead and just select Southern, and this table down here below, which is showing all states at the moment, will filter and show just the states in the Southern region. And you can see the contribution of the Southern region to the sales and downloads, the revenue and downloads of that particular movie. Now I've shown you a set of really nice views that I've created here. And what I want to do now, once I've created the views, is go ahead and share those and present those to others. So what I can do for that is go ahead and go to this Home tab, and in the Home tab you'll see there's a full screen button. And when I click the full screen button, it's going to allow me to present this data, very similar to the way that you would present a PowerPoint presentation. I still have the full interactivity that I had while designing my report, except now what I'm doing is walking someone through my thinking and my logic around how I came to some of the conclusions that I came to in my analysis. I may want to do some interactivity like selecting and clicking, for example, the science fiction category here, and I can go ahead and tell a story about the different movies that are in the science fiction genre. I can navigate through my different slides just by clicking the slide sorter and the slide button here. And alternately, I can go ahead and actually look at all the slides and go and jump from one to another if I need to skip a slide or go back to a slide. And that's very easy to do. So you can see that PowerView gives you a very easy environment for creating reports and also allows you to present your findings very easily to others. Now that you've seen a little bit of PowerView, let's go ahead and summarize. From authoring to presentation, you can really create very nice looking presentations in a very short amount of time. You can change the layout of the data with a few simple clicks. You can share and dynamically interact with the data on the web, and you can collaborate and enrich your data through your storytelling on the web. And finally, just a reminder of the different technologies that are involved. PowerView is built on top of Microsoft Silverlight capabilities. It's cross-platform, can be consumed in multiple types of browsers, and it's very easy to manage and discover through SharePoint. PowerView is an additional feature with the Reporting Services suite of report authoring tools. We have 3 different tools for Reporting Services report authoring geared towards different users and different target scenarios. On the left-hand side, you'll see the developer scenario, which is filled by our report designer environment in Visual Studio. In the middle is Report Builder, which is a standalone application for IT pros and power users to easily build very rich operational reports. And now we have PowerView, which is our new interactive end-user reporting capability for ad hoc reporting, data visualization, and interactivity. Thank you for joining me for today's session. Don't forget to visit the Microsoft Virtual Academy, download the trial version of SQL Server 2012, and participate in the virtual launch events.